You are listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of No Other Pod. I'm Jimmy, as always, with my good buddy Dan. Dan, how you feeling after that KC Comets media game we played in on celebrity and media game, excuse me, on
celebrity / media game? It's all the same, really. Buddy, to say, we all know I've talked about the arthritis in my hips because I'm getting old. So let's just say the next couple of days weren't feeling that great. Man, in my basement, I work out, I do agility stuff and jump around and stuff. But like, there's controlled movements, like you know what you're doing, but then you go play a sport, which is like unpredicted movements. And that's what really, it kills you. So yeah, I was fine that night until about bedtime, and I was like, ooh, tomorrow might be bad.
Feeling a little sore.
Yeah, I felt fine. Heart and lungs, great. Could have went 90 minutes. But like at the end, I was like, these joints are done. Bad deal. It
was fun. It was wild. There were a lot of people on the field. You couldn't get the ball through the midfield.
What was the ratio of teams?
Hey, I'm not trying to say that, there was match fixing that was occurring. But it did seem like Team Vastos had a few more people on the field than Team Serrano did.
A few. Go pause the video or something. Let's get salty. You want to get salty? Let's get nuts. All right? Because I swear to God, you could pause the video and they had at least 10 more people than us. Am I wrong?
It felt like it. I mean, you couldn't get the ball through the midfield to save your life. I mean, you're lucky if you got a 3-yard pass. But it was fun. This was
like a bunch of big kids just running around trying to catch butterflies. Like that's what it looked like.
Have ever seen a kindergarten soccer game where everybody just chases the ball around the field the entire time? That's what it felt like.
Here's the worst part. At the beginning of the game, we're backstage or whatever, and someone, they pull us in, and Lydia from Lydia, she does announcements for KU and KC Current.
Right.
She goes, "Who can actually play?" Implying that she can't and that no one else can. And it's bad when me and Chris both go, meh. And it's like, if we're saying that and no one else is, we're in trouble, guys.
Right. It was not great. It was kind of cool because, I've played in the Sporting KC one. We're going to get you and Chris in there this year. I'm sure of it. But they, when that one happens, they just kind of send you out on the field. You run around, there's no like player introductions or whatnot.
Yeah.
KC Comets, they were like, we're going to line you up. We're going to do introductions. There's music, there's smoke, there's lights, there's everything. It was legitimate. They line us all up. You and Chris were up a little bit farther ahead of me. You hear them announce, and from No Other Pod, number 22, Chris Wright. And he runs out there. And also from No Other Pod, also number 22, inexplicably, Daniel Kooser.
Did they say inexplicably? Did they say that? Okay.
Editor's note, inexplicably.
Editor's note, I did not pick 22. Chris was like, "Oh, you're 22 as well?" And I was like, "I guess." And he's like, "Well, did you pick that?" "No, I didn't pick that."
Yeah, it was funny. And so I'm sitting there. I didn't tell you and Chris this. I'm sitting there because I'm like 10 people farther back than you all for some reason. I'm sitting there going, what am I going to do when I run out there? Do I just do like a calm, cool, collected jog out? I had actually planned when they announced me, I was going to turn around and do the point to the nameplate. So it was going to get up on the screen because it said No Other Pod on my nameplate. So I was going to do the whole point for the brand and
RVD.
Yeah, exactly. And so then the person in front of me, they get their name called. I'm sitting there and they're like, okay, I literally am thinking, can I jog backwards or am I going to fall back? Like, how am I going to do this? Because I want to do this. I don't hear my name called. I hear the person behind me's name called. I'm like, nope, this is fine. They just got them mixed up by one. So I step aside, let her go. Then they announce the next person. And the people that are coming after me are starting to get a little bit more notable. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Okay, now they just announced, Haley Lewis. Okay, there's only like 2 people left. Now they're getting to the people
back
from
there, MTV
Challenge. Yeah, it's like me and the dudes from the Challenge, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be after them. And Steve Serrano's out there, and he's like, hey, they forgot him. And there's a Comets staff member or a game day ops guy, and he like pulls out his phone, and he looks like he's going to call somebody, but then he like slowly starts walking to the announce table, and they're like, and finally, the coach of Team Serrano, Steve Serrano, who runs out there. By the way, wearing fire Jordans. I don't know if you noticed. He was wearing Jordan high tops. And I was like, this dude's about to risk, $200 shoes on the field. And so I just stand there, and then all the lights come on. I see you and Chris bust up laughing, and I like awkwardly jog out. And I didn't hear it, but Brittany told me after. She goes, they kind of picked up the mic after, and they just were like, and here comes Jimmy joining him on the field. And it was like very clear afterthought, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was hilarious. It
was a very funny rib. I'm glad they did that. I told them to do that. No,
you slipped them the 20 after.
Absolutely. I mean, this is just start to finish. Thanks so much for the comments for letting us back our way into this thing. Like it was fun, you know, but
it was so much fun.
The organization of it is just kind of, hey, just show up and do whatever you want to do.
It was, yeah.
Do you need a VIP pass? Maybe not. Just show up.
Chris gets up to the box, and I'm like, oh, you got your VIP pass? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you get your jersey? He's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, Chris, you got to go check in, bro.
I dropped the ball. Buddy, I didn't forward him the email. I didn't give him the info.
Well,
so he didn't know. He didn't know to pick stuff up. And I'm like, I screwed it, dude. He doesn't have access to the email address like you and I do.
That makes sense. We should give him the password.
He's new blood.
Has he earned the password yet?
He's doing all right. I think he's earned it.
But it was fun. You know, I'm not trying to compare our, you know, media game that we just experienced on Saturday to an actual real live MLS game. But it is funny because you hear people ask players sometimes, like, did you hear the fans? Did you notice the fans, this or that? And you're like, you know, oh, before the game, after the game. But once you get in the game, you're zeroed in. I kind of forgot that there was like an arena of people watching us, and I just kind of zeroed in on trying not to make a fool of myself, and also trying not to tear an ACL on the carpet that's coming up in various places in the middle of the arena.
That's it, right? Like, and I just didn't want people to get behind us. I was looking around, and I'm just like, oh, everyone's like Bill Murray from Space Jam. They don't play defense. And I'm just like, I guess I need to stay back here. And then towards the end, we were losing because someone let Daniel Sperry get a goal, my nemesis. And
Daniel's no Daniels.
Daniel's no Daniels, bro. And there can only be one Daniel on the field. So he gets a goal, and I'm like, listen, I'm pushing up. And that's when Chris saw me doing that, and he's like, well, I guess I need to get back. Yeah, Chris. You do, because I'm fired up.
It was fun. I'm glad we got to do it. I can't wait to do it again next year. Hopefully we get to do it in the sporting game this year again.
Right.
So
I just want to say I was open, and the kid who was a child Cartoon Network star didn't pass to me. So he took a shot like point blank with a guy in front of him, and I'm like, how's that the good play? I'm right off to your left. No one's on me.
You're doing the thing where you point down in the spot, and the player's clearly upset, and you throw your hands up.
I was pointing at my feet like, yep, give it to me, give.
Yeah.
And he just shoots it, and I just go, okay, apparently you were on Cartoon Network once upon a time.
It was fun. I'm glad we did it. So
oh, for sure.
Thank you to everybody who participated. We didn't get the win, but that just means we'll have to avenge it next year. So
we will avenge it.
But the Comets got the win in amazing fashion. Last set, like 30 seconds left, they ended up getting the goal. And the St. Louis Ambush had quite the contingency of fans that came out for the game.
They did. Did you have a good time at the game?
Oh, yeah, it was awesome. I mean, there was back and forth between the Ambush fans and the Comets fans. At one point, I was like, there's going to be a fight that's happening. And, you know, it got a little chippy on the field. The goalkeeper got right up into Leo's face, our player coach, and they were reviewing for a blue card, which if you don't know what that is, it sends you to the penalty box because the rules in arena soccer are crazy.
Yeah.
And, you know, Comets got the dub in the end.
Our guy Kevin Ellis is on the other team, and he, you know, ex-Sporting guy. Oh, he's our guy.
He's our guy.
He was walking in the back, and I go, Kev, good to see you, man. He lifts his fist for a bump because Daniel's also no Kevin's, and he bumps me. And I'm like, good to see you, brother. He's like, you too, man. And Chris goes, do you know Kevin? I was like, oh, hell yeah. And I was like, no, but I'm going to act like I do.
I did serve beer alongside Kevin Ellis at a Sporting Victors thing way back when once.
Were you at that?
There you go. Is that like Boulevardia or something maybe? I don't know.
Oh, I didn't do Boulevardia. I did it at
Ale House?
Ale House, I think.
Yeah. I was there for one of those.
I think I served with Beasler, Amelia, and Zusi. I had like the all-star team. It was wild.
Dom was there. I got Dom to send a Snapchat to my brother. So that was fun.
Dom and I compared tattoos. He's like, let me see your tats, man. I was like, oh, okay. Examine my body.
Buy me a drink first.
You may look at my body, my friend.
No, it was fun. Thanks to everybody involved. So let's There's a little bit of Sporting KC stuff to get into this week. Not a ton, but we got one more preseason game occurred. They played
I've been perusing Apple TV, man. You been on the MLS season pass at all?
I do. I have it now. It's launched. There's a lot more content at the launch than I thought there would be, to be honest.
Quite a bit. And it's all, you can just click on a club and up pops everything that club is a part of. Sporting might be in episode 22 of a series, and it will just pull up that episode for you to watch.
It's very cool. Yeah. And every club, I think they were self-produced, which is interesting because some of them, they range anywhere from a minute long to like 33 minutes long. Yeah. They're basically like these like club profile episodes. And Sporting's, I feel like Sporting did it right. Sporting hit the sweet spot of like 12 minutes. Because if I want to watch like a club profile, I'm not trying to sit down and watch a 33-minute documentary like LAFC put out there, but I guess they have like 74,000 owners, so they have to go through all of them. I'm also not trying to watch a minute-long teaser trailer like St. Louis City SC put out there, where I'm like, it's your first year. I mean, all you're going to do is hype up people for 60 seconds. Sporting, it was like 11 minutes long or so, and Nate Bukaty is the narrator, and it's going through the history, and it's showing the days at Arrowhead, and then it shows the reveal of the Sporting KC crest, and then it ends with Peter Vermees talking about the club and the philosophy and where they're going. So I thought it was very well done.
Wow. Guess I don't need to watch after all. Thank you.
I didn't tell you everything he said.
You blew it. You spoiled it.
Yeah. You don't need to watch St. Louis City, which, by the way, St. Louis City, I forgot this was a thing. Their branding, all caps on the city. That feels like one of those things that 2 years from now, they're going to be like, you know what? Never mind. This was too difficult. We didn't think about this. We keep forgetting that we leave the caps lock on, and it's not worth it.
It's weird. It's weird.
You have to yell the city when you say the name. Is it like St. Louis City?
Hey! I really hope we just wallop on those guys. Just that first game is going to be crazy, right? It's going to be nuts. I just hope we beat little brother. Lock him in the couch or something.
It's going to be too expensive to get in. I mean, we're going to find a way to be there, but it's going to be stupid expensive.
No, it's not.
I mean, do you see how much tickets are already going for their first game of the year?
Right, buddy, you get tickets through Sporting Kansas City.
But how many? Okay, yeah, but how many people are going to try to get tickets through SKC? You think probably a lot.
Listen, I'm the guy you talk to.
Okay.
You know how many road run games I've been to? When you go to those, you get priority for other ones because you are a legit fan.
Okay, you're
I think that's it.
Sporting fan.
I think it's a blue checkmark thing. I just don't have that on Twitter yet.
It's like the Beehive for Beyonce concert tickets. That's apparently impossible to get.
It is. I assume. And if not, we'll find our way there, of course. And if it's just super expensive, then we won't.
Well, I mean, we could probably get media passes if we want to.
Worst case, no doubt.
We'll get media, and it's not going to be the same because you want to be down there with the fans and cheering and whatnot. But at least we'd be there. At least we'd be in the stadium. And so that's my worst case scenario. But I did see, for their first game, their opening game at home this year, cheapest tickets online right now on SeatGeek are like $394 a ticket.
That's boring. Why? Why is that?
Apparently the St. Louis City
hot team
is very excited.
All right, dude, we're gonna go see a St. Louis City game, and what a laughable organization.
This can't be a bit we keep up. We can't keep this bit up through the entire season.
Watch me.
Challenge accepted.
Have you seen a dead horse? I beat it.
Our poor producers who have to sit here and listen to us yell "City" the entire time.
My vegan ass talking about beating dead horses. That's just not okay.
It is coming for you now.
I'm a bad vegan.
But before we get to St. Louis City, we did play Louisville City FC at Grand Canyon University in Phoenix as part of our preseason tournament. And well, it's not a tournament, preseason.
Now got our asses kicked.
Well, I mean, it didn't start off well. 2-0, and unfortunately, there's a name very familiar. Well, maybe not very familiar, mildly familiar to Sporting KC fans who got on the score sheet, except not for Sporting Kansas City. And that is the man known as Wilson Harris, who is currently playing for Louisville City FC, who you might know was a Sporting Kansas City homegrown player, got signed to a first-team contract, played very sparingly, mostly in reserve appearances for Sporting KC, and ultimately didn't make the cut for what Peter was looking for, I guess, moved on. So for him, even though it was a preseason game against Sporting Kansas City, to get on the score sheet, put them up 2-0 in the 67th minute. That probably felt pretty good, I would imagine, for a young kid to kind of do that against his old club.
Even if it's preseason, it still is pretty cool. I mean,
Yeah.
even if it was only a stupid halftime media game, it was still pretty cool.
Yeah. It was interesting. We had our first penalty kick, I guess you could say, of the year. I believe it was the first penalty kick. Marino Shanice drew a foul in the box around the 75th minute, and I was interested to see who would step up and take this penalty kick because of the people who were on the field. It wasn't a lot of, there was no Willie Agata, there was no Eric Tommy, there was no Johnny Russell. So I'm like, okay, Graham Zusi's out there. That's somebody who could take it. Janice, he's a winger. Does he take it? I assumed Daniel Shalloway would be the one out of all the people on the field to take it. Not so. Remy Voltaire steps up and buries the penalty kick and then gets another goal himself in the 90th minute to ultimately make it a 2-0 or a 2-2 draw. But, Remy Voltaire, maybe he's vying for that penalty taker spot if Johnny Russell's not on the field.
That's an idea. I mean, that's a confident man right there. Again, it's preseason, and maybe Daniel was like, "Nah, go right ahead. I'm saving my goals for the regular season."
Yeah, it could be. And now Daniel's not necessarily known for taking penalty kicks. When he had his near golden boot season, those were basically all from the run of play. They weren't penalty kick goals, and some of the other players who were vying for that golden boot were taking 8 or 9 penalty kicks throughout the year. But I mean, it wouldn't be the first time a number 8 or a defensive midfielder, if Voltaire ends up playing there this year, took our penalty kicks, because there was a stretch where Ilie stepped up and took the kicks from the spot for quite a while, and he had a relatively good success rate.
Yeah,
so
not bad. It was just what I thought was cool was like, okay, here's what I took away from it. It's preseason, so you don't read too much into it, but they still fought back to essentially save a point. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that fight back, no matter what team it is, whether it's against MLS Cup champions LAFC or St. Louis City, it would be it's still a comeback, and that's commendable.
Yeah. So there's 2 more games. One is today, Wednesday, against Real Salt Lake, and then there is one more. Is there 2 more games? Maybe that's the last game. I thought there was one more against Phoenix Rising.
They're coming back this weekend. Did you hear they're also staying in the same hotel as the Chiefs?
Oh, out in Arizona? That's fun.
Yeah, kind of cool. I don't know, just brushing shoulders with Mahomes or L'Jarius Sneed and anybody, and
Kelsey,
yeah, just kind of cool, man. What a great
Sporting
week.
KC owner Patrick Mahomes.
I gotta be honest, it's weird to even talk about soccer right now. Like, I'm kind of all on football right now. It's a weird time.
I mean, it is. Yeah, the Super Bowl coming up this Sunday, and I know everybody out in Arizona will be having a good time, and the Sporting KC players, I'm sure, will be cheering on the Chiefs because they're all big Chiefs fans.
They'll be back for the Super Bowl. I heard Courtney Ford talking to Ali Trost Ali Trost Martin that they'll be back in town to watch it. Let me ask you this though, real quick, little side note. What's your favorite thing about the Super Bowl every year? And you can't say the game, like one of the extra things that comes with Super Bowl.
The food.
Yeah.
It's the food. It's the excuse to and I've been trying to eat, healthier as of late, working out a little more. But Sunday, I already got some things lined out that I know I want to eat. It's an excuse to get those special dips or the buffalo wings or pizzas or, queso dip or whatever it is that you want. And you don't, give yourself an excuse to eat some of it.
I know, man. I'm all about queso and buffalo wings, and I need to make it happen. The guy's house I'm going to is making chili, and I'm like, that's interesting. Is this good chili? I've never had chili at a Super Bowl party, but I'm open to it.
I mean, chili, I like chili throughout the football season, but especially as it gets a little colder. So it's not bad.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give it a shot, but I'm like, I will bring some like vegan hot wings and some vegan queso dip. You know what I mean? So be prepared.
I mean, that vegan queso dip that y'all make, I've tried it. It's pretty good.
You dip the buffalo chicken wings in the queso dip. Oof. It's out of control. I can't stack this all on my wife though, because she's gonna get overwhelmed. There's a lot going on, so I gotta pick up the slack. I gotta do some shit. I know.
Yeah.
It's just time is Time's crazy, bro. We'll talk, but shit is crazy in my life right now.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. There's lots going on. So you got another preseason game tonight, and then you got the Super Bowl on Sunday, and then a week from tomorrow. Is that right? Let's see here. So Thursday, yeah, a week from tomorrow, Sporting Kansas City is launching their new primary kit. So
it's happening.
There's a busy couple of weeks now. We'll probably talk a little bit more about this next week. Maybe there'll be some teases by the time we record for next week. I'm starting to have some theories. I don't know if the Argyle will be in there. People, myself included, were sort of theorizing maybe it would, but I'm looking at the graphic that they put up a couple days ago, teasing the primary kit launch on February 16th. I have a new theory about what we might see from the primary kit.
Oh, do share.
If you look at the graphic where they're showing the sporting style pop-up store, I'm looking at it on my monitor right here. There's a gradient. There's some horizontal stripes, a gradient.
Oh.
A gradient. There's some horizontal stripes and there's a gradient. It starts lighter at the top and it gets a little bit darker as it goes to the bottom. Now we know there has to be primarily a light kit because it's the primary kit, but what if you see it go from light and then it's, slowly transitions to at the bottom, it's more of that dark navy blue and it's sort of like a gray, and maybe there's some horizontal stripes that go along with it. I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm trying to read into the graphics they're putting out. And I thought that was interesting that that's what they did.
You think horizontal stripes, not a vertical situation?
I mean, on the graphic, there's some horizontal stripes behind it. So maybe some hoops.
We'll see. Yeah. Speculate all you guys want, but don't blow this for me because I like surprises.
Are you going to buy it no matter what?
Well, I'll probably score 3 goals in the media game and they'll probably give me one.
That's true. So it is interesting. I guess
I always do. I'll get it, of course. Somehow I will obtain it.
If you buy it and schedule pickup for between February 16th and 18th, there will be a pop-up store for the first time at the Compass Minerals National Performance Center. So this is the first retail experience inside the training facility for Sporting KC. So if you haven't had the chance yet to go see the training facility, I know we both have, but if you're listening and you haven't had a chance to go in there and see at least part of it, this might be your opportunity and you'll get the new kit while you do it.
And Sporting, you're blowing it. Like you could have absolutely had us announce the jersey on the pod. We could have had our names on the back, could have shown, maybe it's a gift to us. Maybe you give us a deal. I don't know. But we could have broke it here. I mean, we're doing big things, so just food for thought. Food for thought. I'm not a marketing guy. I'm not in the marketing department. So
I'm just saying, if you want to give us a jersey, we'll talk about it and we'll it's really, we're doing you a favor.
Hey, if you don't shoot your shot for stuff, like you gotta value yourself. You know what I mean? You don't know if you don't ask. So there's that.
Hey, let's go for it.
Absolutely. What do we do? We tweeted at Casey Comets, "Hey, we'll play in your media game," and they're like, "Come on!" And we're like, "Sweet,
let's do it." Yeah, they did have the world's most giant bucket of coleslaw in that Casey Comets luxury suite. Did you see when you walked in where they? Yeah. Oh my God. And like maybe 3 scoops of it got eaten throughout the night. It was like 7 gallons of coleslaw that were on the table.
Well, I do think we should have grabbed the KC Mavericks trophy and came out with that. And since you weren't even introduced correctly, you absolutely should have took that fucking trophy and brought. You're not gonna announce my name. Too bad I'm already the champion.
Yeah, there was a trophy just chilling backstage that we could have grabbed. So
just chilling.
There was some interesting tidbits that came from Peter Vermeer's Friday press conference. We were recently on a podcast, the I-80 Sports Podcast. We join them basically every year to talk a little preview of Sporting KC's season. And one of the questions that Bob with I-80 Sports, you can find it on our Twitter, we retweeted it. One of the questions that he asked us was, what do you think is sort of the weakness of the Sporting Kansas City team right now? And I think we both kind of agreed that center back is an interesting position because it's very thin. There's only 3 center backs currently signed to the senior roster between Andre Ufantas, Courtney Ford, and Robert Volader. Well, Peter in a press conference this past Friday, was asked about the likelihood of signing another center back. There's been links to, a number of different ones, Farrow being the most recent one we talked about. And Peter's quote says, "Yes, I think you'll see another person being signed to the team in that position. I can see that." So
he tries to be sneaky, but he's like, "You're clearly onto something here." So sure. Yeah, it's happening.
And now he didn't give a timeline, so if it doesn't happen, he could be like, I said at some point there will be a center back signed. I didn't say it would be this year or this window, but
right.
I can't imagine that Sporting KC plans to go into the season with only 3 center backs on the senior roster.
Yeah, that's weird, right? Absolutely. That's exciting stuff, man.
We might see a new one. If I think we assume maybe that Andreu Fontes is sort of a lock to start right now at that left center back spot. Do you think that bringing in another center back, it might push Courtney Ford out of that starting spot? Or do you think that given the short timeline, it's Courtney Ford's spot to lose right now and he'll have to battle for it maybe in practice, but he probably safe to start the season there?
I don't think it's his to lose at all. Like if you bring someone in, especially from Europe, who's been playing consistently, they're in form, they're fit, they're ready to go. They just need to learn your shit. It's like, it's no different than having a job and you go get the same kind of job elsewhere. You just got to learn their procedures and policies. Right. So it's bringing someone in is going to push Fontas too, man. Like, center backs can be interchangeable. Center backs have played on right or left before. They have primary spots, but they have been interchanged before because they can.
Right. We did play with 2 left-footed center backs with Beasler and Fontas at one point, and that was a little interesting.
Not the end of the world.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I do think Fontas is he's the most experienced. Now, he's had some up seasons and some down seasons, but Peter indicated that his contract is more reasonable this year to match the performance. So I think he's probably safe there. I think Courtney Ford is a pretty good bet to start at that right center back spot, but I agree it's probably not a lock.
Well, that implies that Fontas took a significant pay cut, that says a lot for the player too. Like that he's willing to, that he wants to stay here. He wants this team to succeed. And that helps the overall culture of the club, because if he would have been like, "Nah, I'm out of here," everyone will be like, "Well, I guess we see how much he really cared." I guess,
right?
But it's also a business, so there's so many factors in sports, man.
But it's wild. Andreu Fontes, he's been here. What? Is this his 5th year with the club? 5th or 6th?
It sounds right.
It's been a while. He's getting let's see here. I'm looking at pulling up his career stats right now. It's been a number of years. He joined Sporting KC in 2018. So this is his 6th year with the club. Now, he didn't start a lot in 2018. He only made 2 appearances. In 2019, he only made 13 appearances. And in 2020, he only made 3 appearances. So I think those first few years when he was making $1 million, that's quite a bit to have a reserve center back.
But we made a lot of Fanta jokes.
2020, yeah, we did. 2021, that was when he sort of had his best 11 season. 33 games played, 33 games started, so that was quite good. 2022 came back to earth a little bit, but 28 games played, 27 games started, so he definitely took a pay cut. We don't know the exact salary. We'll see when the Players Union releases salaries, but I think he's probably maybe not, written in pen there, but it's a pretty solid pencil that you can write his name on the roster sheet for opening day.
No doubt. I think so too. But time will tell, man. Bringing someone in is going to push the whole back line really for minutes. And I can't stress enough how much I'm excited to see these position battles play out. Because if someone trips and falters early on in the season, then boom, next guy up. There's no margin for error, especially the way we ended last year.
Right. So we'll see. Interesting stuff. There is a little bit more news that I want to talk about that sort of tangentially involves Sporting Kansas City. It's not directly a Sporting KC story that I want to get into here in a second. But first, you mentioned Super Bowl's coming up. And so we want to let you all know that DraftKings Sportsbook is available for you and your sports betting needs. So are you ready for the biggest Sunday in sports? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 57, has all the Super Bowl action you need. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, all customers can get in on the Super Bowl 57 excitement with DraftKings Happy Hour Super Boosts. Check out the DraftKings Sportsbook app every day between 5 and 8 p.m. Central Time to see what prop bet will be boosted. I mean, I don't know if you're going to be putting any money down on the Super Bowl Chiefs. You can get some plus odds right now. They're still the underdogs. So you can get, make a little more money than you put down if you want to take the Chiefs to win.
That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. This is fun, man. Allie Trost Martin gets to read about Enterprise Bank, but we got bets.
We got bets. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code NOOTHERPOD. New customers can bet $5 on Super Bowl 57 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Y'all see the Kevin Hart ads? It's instantly. You get it the second you make that $5 bet. So only with DraftKings Sportsbook with code NOOTHERPOD. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. So
fun times. I got to point out that Wiz jacket you got on, by the way. I do have the Kansas City one Wiz of those jacket as well. I heard you coming though from a mile away. They're very, very noisy.
Yeah,
but it's a good one. It's a good one.
So the story I want to talk about that tangentially involves Sporting Kansas City is the rumors surrounding the U.S. men's national team managerial job. Now, we all know that there's nothing been officially confirmed, at least that I've seen, about Greg Berhalter not coming back, but he is currently out of contract. There is no permanent manager of the U.S. men's national team. And then, Jesse Marsch, former New York Red Bulls coach, who went over to Red Bull Leipzig and then found his way, was he at Leipzig? He was at,
yeah,
I don't remember. He was with the Red Bull organization, coaching over in Europe. And then he took over at Leeds United in the Premier League. He is no longer the coach of Leeds United. He got let go. So suddenly U.S. men's national team Twitter basically handed him the position of U.S. men's national team coach, although he has been lukewarm at times in terms of that. But there is another coach who played for the U.S. men's national team, who was American-born, who has previously expressed potential interest in one day coaching the U.S. men's national team, and that is none other than our own coach and sporting director, Peter Vermees.
What are you doing?
Now, hold on. He was asked about this. Did you see the quotes?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I'm just saying.
He was basically like, "Shut it down, jabroni."
No, that's not exactly what he said.
You're the jabroni role. Shut your mouth.
He was asked a question about the job with the U.S. men's national team. And he said, "I appreciate the question. My focus is here with Sporting Kansas City. I don't really know what's going on there, but what all of you know." So that's not a, I'm here full time, or it's not I'm interested in the job. It's I'm here right now. But what is interesting is, according to Daniel Sperry, his contract, Peter Vermees' contract with Sporting Kansas City, is slated to end at the end of this season.
True.
Sperry said he asked if Peter has had conversations about extending that contract, and Peter declined to comment. So now,
that's fine.
As Sperry points out, declining to comment isn't necessarily nothing's going on. It might just be, I'm not focused on that right now. But, Peter's talked about before how much he cares about U.S. men's national team and U.S. soccer. If, for whatever reason, the U.S. men's national team was to come knocking, I don't think they will, because I don't think the timing's right with the MLS season. But if they were, I think Peter would entertain the option.
Come on. He said I don't want to comment because he has a job. He's like, well, my bosses read your magazine. My bosses read your newspaper. So I'm not going to say like, yeah, I would totally do that. Because then my boss is going to be like, well, then why don't you fucking go do it? Like, get the hell out. I know it's his last it's contract year for him. And I think he'll get another one after this.
Well, I think Sporting will definitely, unless things fall off the rails for Sporting Kansas City this year, which I don't envision they will. I think he will get another contract offer. Well, let me ask you this then. I'm going to throw you another curveball.
No.
He doesn't get the coaching job. I don't think U.S. Soccer wants to wait a full year basically before they hire a coach. You know what else they need? A general manager. What if they come to Peter Vermees at the end of this year and say, hey, we have a coach, but you can be the general manager and help create the pathway and develop players for the future of the U.S. men's national team? Is he enticed by that?
Can he work out of Kansas City with this job?
Well, that's a good question. Previously, they've wanted people to live in Chicago.
Right. But now it's different. I mean, doesn't Vlatko, the freaking coach of the women's team, live in KC?
They might have loosened those restrictions.
I think so. Anyways, this is you're making me mad, really. Like I don't I don't want to think about this. Okay. Daddy Peter just going away, you know.
I mean, it's probably not going to happen.
Friends.
I just, you know, it was brought up in the press conference. I think it's worth keeping an eye on. So,
but it's just going to get brought up again, and it's going to be a focal point of the year, and it's going to be a distraction, and he's going to shut it down every time.
He's not the only one, though, that's being asked about this. Jim Curtin, the head coach of the Philadelphia Union, was asked about whether he would be interested in the job, and he said he would. He said he'd be interested, so much so that he said he would even consider taking an assistant coach position with the U.S. men's national team if it meant leaving his head coach position with the Philadelphia Union.
Jim's not very smart, is he? How do you say that on record when you are currently employed? You don't say, yeah, I'd leave. What?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just, you know, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean,
where's the decorum? That's not even the right way to do business. Jim Curtin's just a schmuck. All right. Get your fellow redhead in order, Jimmy. What is going on?
I mean, he does qualify it. He says, you know, I do eventually want to test myself against the best in the world. Do I think I'm ready for that right now? I don't. I still have some work to do here in Philly. I really like this project here. We're close to MLS Cup, so I want to win MLS Cup here in Philly. But I just, I mean, close. I don't know. He's
all
interested.
Rooted for you, Jim, and you blew it. You let LAFC beat you. You blew it.
This is his exact quote. Of course, I'd love to coach the national team if that's what you're asking. But I said this before, and I meant when I say it. Whoever they choose, if they choose Jose Mourinho, if they choose Carlo Ancelotti, if they choose Jesse Marsch, I would be their assistant. You know what I mean? Like, that's how important I think this upcoming World Cup is. He'd be willing to be the assistant for one of those coaches if it meant he got to be on the staff for this 2026 World Cup.
He just wants to be a part of it. Look at him. Look at him. He just wants to be in the media halftime game. I get it.
he just wants to get in the door.
I get it. Just a foot in the door. I just want to be on the sidelines to have a great seat and not pay thousands of dollars for a good seat.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you know, it might be it. Couple more things. There were a couple other quotes that I wanted to highlight from Peter Vermees' press conference. He did say Alan and Gotti, meaning Alan Pulido and Gotti Kinda, things have been going great. I'm very optimistic. They're getting very close to being ready to go. So it sounds like, you know, Doyle had an interesting take in his Western Conference depth chart article where he said that Sporting KC might have to look at doing the buyout for Gotti Kinda, and I don't think Doyle was paying much attention to what's happening here in Kansas City.
What is he talking about?
I mean, he's just saying that he didn't even have Gotti Kinda on the midfield depth chart. He says one extra note, and this is from the February 5th update. This is 3 days ago. One extra note, I left Gotti Kinda off the depth chart below as he's still injured. That's feeling more and more like a problem they may have to solve via a buyout. So,
well,
Doyle clearly didn't listen to Peter Vermees' press conference.
He can't. You can't. If you're a national guy and you cover all these teams, do you really go listen to every single press conference for every single coach and player? That's
Probably
tough.
Not.
I get that. Hell, man, it's tough to like watch highlights from every single game. So he's doing his best to add some commentary to it, but come on, man, we're your guys on the front lines here.
This is interesting. He's not even necessarily talking about Pulido because he's injured. He says the roster looks set, save perhaps the status of Alan Pulido. KC's record signing hasn't played much the past 2 years and has never played as well as Will Yagata did at the end of last season. He enters this year, the final year of his contract, as a backup. So he's calling his shot right now.
Hey, I can't fault him for that. Like, we don't know, and that seems totally plausible.
Yeah. I mean, if I were a betting person, if I were going to go on DraftKings Sportsbook and put down who I think would be the opening day striker for Sporting KC, I'm probably going Willie Agata because I think he's going to want to work Polito back into full fitness. But
Sure.
I do think Polito will be starting a not insignificant number of games this year for Sporting KC at striker.
Would love to see him in like a two-striker system. You know what I mean? How wild would that be?
Yeah. It'd be pretty interesting. We've talked about that Peter Vermees with Sporting Kansas City will have maybe a little bit more freedom to do some interesting strategic things with formation or strategies or whatnot, given the depth that he has in some of these positions now. So
yeah,
could be very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of other news and notes that I really want to get into around the league, although there was one that's just kind of funny. We all know that the professional referees organization, doesn't have the best reputation with MLS fans, right?
Well, what do you mean?
I mean, you ask any fan base of any club, and they're going to think that Pro intentionally screws them, basically, and makes errors that cause them to lose games, lose playoff spots, etc. There's one name that if I mention that everybody kind of shudders at a little bit. That's Mark Geiger. If I say Mark Geiger, what sort of feelings pop up in you? Because there's a phrase specifically that pops into my mind.
I can't think of anything off the bat. I mean, there's other referees that do that to me though. But what do you get?
Okay, who's a ref that does it to you?
I don't know, bro. No, you'd have to say names
on the
now.
spot.
Well, you'd have to say it. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a number. Chris Penso is usually okay. Ishmael Elfaf, he's
that's one.
You don't like him?
Sometimes.
It depends. It depends. When I think Mark Geiger, I think the Geiger Show, because that was sort of the meme that went around whenever Mark Geiger was the referee. They'd be like, "Oh, it's the Geiger Show. He likes to insert himself." Cards.
Ted Uncle.
Ted Uncle's not with Pro anymore, but
not a big fan of Ted. All right, I just throwing that out there. What about the referee that kind of looks like you?
Oh God, I know exactly who you're talking about, and now he's Pro referees. What is his friggin' name? He's the redheaded guy that I don't like him either.
Be there.
Let's see. I can look at the official rosters here. Well, anyway, Mark Geiger of the Geiger Show has been named the general manager of Pro, which basically means he's now overseeing all of the Pro referees that will be refereeing Major League Soccer games. So
that's what happens.
Probably not going to get better.
The people that get promoted are not always well liked. Okay.
You know who I don't like? I don't know if you're gonna know this by name. If you saw him, you know him. Fotis Bazakos. If you saw this guy running, if I sent you a picture of this referee, let me see if I can do this real quick while you're on there, because you'll see this guy and you're gonna say, "Yep, that's the referee who always loses control of the game."
Do I have to go get my phone?
Oh, you don't have your phone on you? Okay.
I put it on the charge. I got my watch.
Well, you got your watch. Can you see this guy? Does he look familiar at all?
Yeah, a little bit. He likes to take control and puff out his chest every now and then.
Yeah, he's one. And Drew Fisher is my doppelganger.
Drew Fisher. There you go.
So anyway, Mark Geiger's now the head of Pro referees, and he's one that whenever I hear the name Mark Geiger, I'm just like, oh, this is going to be – nobody's going to be happy. No fan base is going to be happy. And now he's the one who's in charge of all referees. So that's good.
Good deal, man.
For him.
Good deal.
But do you have any other stories that you want to cover this week before we sign off?
No stories. I think you guys, if you're paying attention at all to Kansas City Soccer, though, you'll tune in tomorrow to our sister episode Currently, where we talk about some big stuff. Current. So,
oh boy,
it's going to be quite the fun episode tomorrow. So we'll see you there.
Current are going wild with the signings this offseason.
Yeah, you should tune in.
I'm sure there's going to be some good takes and some exciting stuff to talk about. So check out Currently, check out other episodes of No Other Pod, and check out Soccer Talks with Ali Trost Martin right here on the KCSN Soccer feed.
Or the YouTubes. Get us on the YouTubes.
On YouTube.
Look at my ring light, bro. Makes me look like I'm not super tired, because I am.
Exactly. go to the KCSN soccer channel on YouTube. Make sure you leave us a 5-star rating and review. It's been a minute since we've had a review to read on air, so get on there. Leave a 5-star rating and review. We'll read it here right on air. If you have not yet done so, or if you have done so, grab your brother, your sister, your kids, your spouses, your partner's phone, iPad, whatever, and leave that review for us. And then, yeah, make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NoOtherPod, at Dan Kooser, at JCMac03, or shoot us an email, nootherpod@gmail.com. But until next time, he's Dan. I'm Jimmy. We'll catch y'all later. See ya.
City!
Thanks for watching this production of KC Sports Network, the fastest growing sports media network in Kansas City. Check out these videos that feature our team of more than 15 former players, insiders, and analysts, bringing you the best Chiefs coverage you can find. Entertain, educate, inform. KC Sports Network.